Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News Channel. Hello, Maverick family. Tonight, we are at a turning point. Not just a turning point with the war in Ukraine with Russia, but we're at a turning point for humanity. The lead story tonight on this program is the use of artificial intelligence to kill human beings, intentionally to target and kill human beings. In warfare with drones for the very first time in history. That's the lead story because that's the most important thing that has happened, not just this week, not just today, but in years. Maybe the most important thing that has happened in history since, to humanity, to the world, since the development of the atomic bomb. That's the lead story. That's not a story that mainstream media is even paying attention to. But I'll tell you this, it is the most important thing that has happened in this news cycle for sure. It's having major impact on the war in Ukraine right now. I'm going to make some statements tonight that I think will maybe surprise you as this broadcast continues. And just about everything else that we talk about tonight ties into that in one way or another. Directly, maybe indirectly in a few cases, but it's all very much tied together, whether we're talking about what's going on in Iran tonight and the talk of a possible peace deal again, what's going on the front lawn of the White House with that circus that's playing out there, whether we're talking about what Mark Carney is doing in Ireland, whether we're talking about the riots, the protests in the streets across the UK, in Ireland as well tonight because of immigration. Doesn't matter what we're talking about tonight. And certainly if we're talking about the launch of the Falcon 9 rocket on its way to the International Space Station now, or whether we're talking about the movie Disclosure Day, all of this stuff connected. We'll start digging into it on the other side of this with, I think, some profound revelations, not just necessarily disclosures, when we come back on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, let's start getting into the nitty-gritty on this, shall we? And the macro view as well. So tonight, President Trump saying a peace deal, why am I even bothering, could be signed tomorrow with Iran. This wasn't going to be the first thing to talk about tonight, but we'll begin here because it's the newest. I've already highlighted the most important story, and we're going to get into that. It's all connected. So here's the headline on CBS. Let's show you that. Then we're going to go to his Truth Social account. I'll believe it when I see it, but I'll show you what I'm seeing. First step. So there's CBS. It's being reported across all mainstream media, being picked up, of course, by independent streamers, influencers tonight as well. All right. U.S. and Iran peace deal to be signed Sunday, Trump says. All right, let's hide that. Go straight to his Truth Social account, his lying social. It's ridiculous. How does he frame this? He says Barack Hussein Obama's deal with Iran, the JCPOA, was an easy, beautiful, smooth road to a nuclear weapon. Okay, which Iran would have had 6 years ago and would have used long before now. My agreement with Iran is the exact opposite, a wall to no nuclear weapon. In fact, they no longer want a nuclear weapon, nor will they have one, either through purchase, development, or any other form of procurement. The deal is scheduled to get signed tomorrow, and immediately after it is signed, the Hormuz Strait of Hormuz, whatever, is open to all caps. Our relationship with Iran is a much different and better one than previous administrations have had. Really? Because it looks to me like you're both firing missiles and drones at each other. He continues, unlike Obama's hundreds of billions of dollars in payments to them, including $1.7 billion in green cold cash, no money will exchange hands. We'll see. At the appropriate time, when all is calm, we will go in and get the nuclear dust buried deep under the powerful sunken granite mountains, thanks to our beautiful B-2 bombers and their brilliant pilots, and downblend and destroy it, whether in Iran or the United States. We look forward to working with Iran and the entire Middle East long into the future. Hopefully this process will all work out quickly, easily, and smoothly. If it doesn't, we have the ultimate alternative. Not in all caps, but he uses the phrase ultimate alternative. Hopefully never to be used again. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. The ultimate alternative. To me, that sounds like he's threatening to use a nuclear weapon. Both sides, according to the media tonight, Iran and the U.S., eager, ready to sign some sort of a deal, maybe tomorrow, a memorandum of understanding between the U.S. and Iran. That's a memorandum of understanding. That's not an actual full-up peace deal, but we'll see. And the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened immediately upon the signing of this, according to Trump. He says Iran no longer wants to pursue a nuclear weapon. So the Prime Minister of Pakistan has touted a finalization of this deal between the U.S. and Iran, saying likely expected within the next 24 hours. In a social media post that he put up, he says the technical level talks would begin next week if the deal is signed tomorrow. However, Iran's foreign ministry is saying that the deal likely won't be signed tomorrow. Don't know what to believe because you can't believe either one of them. I'd say don't believe it until you see it. And even though you have all of this good news or optimism about a possible deal. The United States, yeah, they did shoot down a bunch of Iranian attack drones earlier today. The drones were apparently targeting commercial ships, and Trump going to social media to respond to that, calling the whole incident and the use of the drones against targets in the strait totally unacceptable. So it looks like a great peace deal on the horizon as they continue to fire at each other in this fantastic ceasefire, in this war that Trump says isn't a war, but he has declared over, done with, and claiming total victory by the United States somewhere around 40 times since it began over 3 months ago and was supposed to be over in just 3 weeks. All right, we got that out of the way. It's news. I can't help it because he is the president. So when he says stuff, it gets reported, and then people want to know because, he has the responsibility. So that's what's going on in the Gulf tonight. I hope it's true. Don't get me wrong. I hope it is true. I hope there is peace. I hope the strait opens. Okay. Also tonight, Ukraine. Forces struck deep into Russian territory again overnight, hitting critical energy and logistics targets in Russia's Krasnodar region. The Ukrainian drone attack killed one person, injured 3 others, according to local officials. Debris sparked a fire at a sea terminal in the area. Ukraine's SBU security service claiming strikes on the terminal, including fuel tanks and loading stands. Let's go to the map, the live map, see what's going on. And I apologize for these ads. I think almost got rid of it. It's just very, very hard to get rid of these ads on this map, but it's a useful tool, so I'll put it up. And let's go here. I just took a moment to try and click so that it would go away, but it's only partially gone. Here's what's going on tonight, and it looks like Ukraine aggressively launching somewhere around 300 drones currently aimed at Russian targets. Scroll up here. And 3 hours ago, reported here on live view, a map, an explosion reported in Kharkiv. That would probably be because Russia is under attack again with a swarm of drones. This war is not over. This war, I think, my assessment from what I've seen in last few weeks, and certainly within the last week, this war is at a turning point. I think Russia is in a lot of trouble. A lot. Because for the first time ever, this went largely unreported. There's a little bit of noise about it out there, a little bit of an undercurrent talking about the use of artificial intelligence with drones. They're using AI so that drones, they used it to target Russian soldiers in the field of battle for the very first time successfully. The thing is, this came out in a news conference, acknowledged and confirmed by Ukraine's military, saying they used it. It wasn't reported for the first time, just kind of leaked out a little bit like 2 days ago. I became aware of it. I've been looking at it, confirmed it, like became aware of it yesterday, and I'm telling you about it tonight because it is extremely important. Nobody in mainstream media picking up on this, really very, very little chatter about it, but it's hugely significant. First time ever, this puts Russia on the back foot. But here's the thing, this didn't happen 2 days ago. It happened 2 years ago. I think over 2 years ago. Very real. Let me show you. Here's an article about it that was published this week in a, not like a, it's a credible source. It's just not widely read by the general public. This is in New Science. They picked up on it. They were privy to this invitation only news conference where other information was released as well, but this was acknowledged in the news conference. New Scientist. So that I'm not making this up. It is out there. Fully autonomous drones with no human oversight have killed soldiers on the battlefield for the first time. This, according to a senior figure in the Ukrainian defense industry, marking a watershed moment in warfare. The one-off test involved 10 AI-controlled Terminator drones on the front line of the Ukraine war. Russian soldiers were killed. Right here it says, "We tried it," quote, says drone maker Alexander Kokanovsky, who supplied the technology and spoke to New Scientist at the press event. "It's a test. We never implemented it more widely," he said. But this was an event from 2 years ago. The test took place 2 years ago, it says, and involved quadcopter drones that were programmed to fly towards the front line, cover between 3 and 5 kilometers over around 10 minutes, and then engage Terminator mode, in which an AI model searches for and intercepts targets. We just launch it and we know everything will be dead. Everything that will be found there in this particular area will be dead, said Kokanovsky. There is no connection to the drone at all. You cannot see the video, nothing. Everything it sees will be killed. With no way to tell what the automated drones had seen or targeted, human-piloted drones were sent into the area after the test to manually check results. Victims included a couple of soldiers, one truck, said Kokanovsky. While there is no recording of the automated drones attacking these targets, it was concluded that drones had killed them. Do you understand the significance of this? If not, let me club you over the head with a dose of reality from an artificial intelligence world. This is computers unleashed upon humans, directed to kill people. In my view, Vladimir Putin made a very, very, very big mistake, not just when he launched a full-scale invasion against Ukraine, but even when he went into Crimea, long before that. And Russia is in a lot of trouble because that was 2 years ago. And the information we're getting is only the information that we're being allowed to know about. I've reported on this program over the past year several times that AI is being used by Ukraine and the West. They've been testing AI in the war in Ukraine for a variety of military applications, this being just one. One of the other ones that I reported on, this has to be about a year ago now, is to predict the future so they can determine what is coming from the enemy. AI predicting the future with success in the battlefield. That is the ultimate form of military intelligence, which normally would be an oxymoron, but when powered by AI, suddenly it becomes perhaps beyond accurate. predictive. How does it do it? I can only speculate. But if they're doing that, I'd say Russia's in a heap of trouble. In the past week, we've seen that Russia appears to be losing ground in the war. And I think that is absolutely the case, as much as Putin, Russian military, and the pro-Russian influencers, even over here, don't want to talk about it. They don't want to acknowledge it. It's happening. This is from Ukrainian sources. Russian hasty withdrawal reported. Now, this hasn't been fully confirmed. This is from Ukrainian source, but I think there is some real credibility to this. According to recent reports by the Ukrainian partisan movement Atesh, Ukrainian forces are forcing Russian troops into a hasty withdrawal from the northern and western parts of the peninsula due to intensive Ukrainian drone attacks. I'm reading from this, as you can see right here. And the effective cutting off of logistical supply lines. Russian units, specifically the 337th 2nd Regiment, have suffered heavy losses and are facing critical personnel shortages. Why do you think that is? It's because their supply lines, their infrastructure, it's all been under massive drone attack by Ukraine. Ukraine is on the offensive, and they are gaining ground. They're pushing these Russian forces back, and it is a turning point. They're not just holding the line now. They're regaining ground. Now, with that being said, also what you're seeing there is an acknowledgement of partisan forces, essentially. These are, to some degree, Ukraine has pockets or cells of supporters inside Russia, and they've been launching attacks inside Russia, described by Russia, of course, as terrorist attacks. This has been going on for quite some time on a scale much wider than anybody has really been reporting. In fact, here's an article from 2023, December 1st. This has been going on. This is an example of what I'm talking about. So this goes back, 2.5 years, right? About a train blown up inside Russia. Investigators concluded that a train caught fire in Russia's longest tunnel on Wednesday, was blown up in a terrorist attack. This is from Reuters on that date, by unidentified individuals. Russian newspaper, Russian media reporting it back then, picked up by Reuters news service on the western side. A Ukrainian source told Reuters Thursday, this is like from 2023, that the security service of Ukraine, SBU, had detonated explosives in the rail tunnel in Siberia because Russia had been using the route for military supplies. They've been going after the supply lines, the logistics. You can't win a war without good logistics. You have to supply bread and bullets to the troops on the front lines, and you disrupt that, and you put a real monkey wrench into the whole military operation. That's what Ukraine has been targeting, both with these operations, even within Russia itself, and with drones. And we saw even just in the last week, this has been continuing on an elevated scale inside Russia. We showed you video of at least 2 trains that were taken out with drones over the past, week and a half now. In the past week and a half, at least 2 trains disrupted, and bam, just like that, they've got the rail line blocked. They're having trouble getting supplies to the front lines. As a result, we've had multiple reports now over the past couple of weeks of Russian troops pulling back from the front lines. Here again, another headline confirming what I'm saying. I have been talking about this, especially over the last 2 weeks, just from time to time. Ukraine's railway wars, how to sabotage Russian military logistics, irregularwarfare.org. That's where this article is posted. It says here, Since the outset of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, logistics have played a critical role in determining the course of the war. Recognizing this vulnerability, Ukrainian special operations and intelligence services partnered with both Ukrainian and Russian partisans have embarked on a continuous campaign to degrade Russia's rail transportation infrastructure. This unconventional warfare sabotage campaign has increasingly gained momentum, showing the potential effectiveness of this strategy as a supporting effort in future conflicts. Certainly, in every war, logistics becomes a factor, is a major factor. And yeah, supply lines have always been something that's been targeted by armies to cause problems for their military adversaries. But the big shift, the big change here is the use of AI. Has that only been restricted to that one experiment, that test 2 years ago? Somehow, I suspect not. I'm thinking they've probably used it more than that, not restricting the test to just one incident, one experiment. We've heard a lot. Well, there has been a lot of talk about this in military and political circles, between governments, talking about the ethics behind this kind of use of this AI technology for this military application. How dangerous is it? Extremely. This is the movie Terminator. This is Skynet, almost. This is like the Terminator movie come to life, being used in reality, right? It's not out of control. They've still got control of the AI, but they turned it loose and just let the computer make the decisions, and it just killed everything. Kill them all. Human beings. This while we're being, led down a path toward an AI future, down a path where the purveyors of this technology, the sellers of it, the proprietors of AI, the tech bros, the big technology companies, and we're focused on these guys here in the West, but it's happening in other countries too, including China, and I'm sure Russia's working on AI as well, but the United States is the leader. Western countries, certainly the US. This technology being tested in the field, and the big tech gods, on Wall Street, are telling us, don't worry, be happy. Just watch the profits roll in. Your 401k on the US side is growing, and that's all you need to know. This is your retirement security, whether you're talking about AI or all these other companies in the Silicon Valley or SpaceX. $1 trillion. $1 trillion. This is actually a live loop of Falcon 9 launch. Here we go. In fact, we're just in time for the launch. This is not actually live. It's as I say, on a live loop. That rocket on its way, and this is why all this stuff is connected, folks. Okay, so this is Elon Musk's SpaceX. Yesterday, that huge company, I think it's now the biggest, corporation in the world, like overnight, turned him into a trillionaire because of all the stocks being sold, although the stock itself, I don't think it's full voting stock, most of it. That's another sidebar story. But this rocket on its way to the ISS, the Falcon 9, with a crew of 3 aboard. Why is it tied in? Because SpaceX, Starlink, the Starlink satellites used for navigation for drones, drone warfare, communications, all ties everything together. None of this stuff works without a network like that. It's the space race, the AI race, the digital race, all these things happening all at the same time. This is the stuff that is fueling the economy and the expansion of the stock market. That's what Trump keeps pointing to. Look at how high the stock market has gone. This company doesn't even make money, by the way. It defies the laws of economics in many respects, but that's because it's all, even though a private corporation, it's all being funded with pretty much tax dollars one way or another, because governments contract SpaceX to launch the rockets, to put the satellites up. They get contracts. They use the network too. Ukraine using the network. They even give access to SpaceX to Russia to some degree. They restrict it and give it back depending on what Elon Musk decides is an ethical use or not an ethical use. And of course, he's deep into the AI revolution as well. And this launch of this rocket is a huge part of it. Without these, this is why they have privatized space travel and the deployment of satellites. They're outsourcing it to a private company with government contracts, public-private partnerships, which can be a good thing, but also potentially really, really bad for people. There's always an upside and a downside, all connected. And I'd say we're into a unpredictable, very dangerous period in time. This is a turning point, because I don't know where this AI stuff is really going to take us. What does this mean for warfare? And they've let it out of the bag now. Like, they've acknowledged they've done this. Like, it's too late, right? It's already happened. That was 2 years ago. Where do you think they're really at today? And what aren't they telling us? That's why it's news. It's news here, not because of what they've told us. It's because of what they haven't told us. Don't get your bug out bag. Don't run into the woods. Don't freak out. Don't be afraid. Don't panic. It's going to be okay. Why is it going to be okay? Because you know about it now. And if you just keep a level head, we all keep a level head, we'll figure it out one way or another. But we have to get this stuff out of the shadows and into the light, where we can deal with it, regulate it. Don't run away from it. You're never going to stop the march of technology. We have to get involved. First step, become aware that it is happening and figure out where we're at on that road so that we can get a handle on things. And we need to start to get politicians engaged. We need to explore the ethics behind this in a more serious manner. And we need to shout it from the mountaintops, because nothing is more consequential. The nuclear bomb was developed entirely in secret, and it completely changed the world. This may be even more dangerous, because this is, in my view, just as lethal. Why? Because it makes even the most powerful, sophisticated weapons like fifth generation fighter jets and maybe even the sixth generation fighter jets, well, fifth generation for sure, they're virtually obsolete already. And the only way to keep them relevant moving forward into the future, as we've seen, is to have them integrated with AI and having a whole bunch of drones serve as wingmen, multiple wingmen, like a whole squadron of drones with a fifth generation fighter working in tandem, and a whole squadron of fighter jets with squadrons of drones. It is massive. What's going on in Ukraine, unless I can't even really imagine the horror of what it is like on the front lines over there right now, because we're not really being shown the full extent and the full power, the full magnitude, the scale of this battle. It is bloody, it is explosive, it is that the damage, I think, is far more severe than anyone realizes, because Ukraine, for instance, and Russia's trying to do this too. They're trying to catch up, but they're still behind. Ukraine has been manufacturing millions, is what the information is out there tonight. Millions of drones. Even though Trump has pulled back U.S. support in a lot of ways, as I said weeks ago, he's just taken the handcuffs off. In a way, he's done Ukraine a favor by removing as much U.S. influence as was there before. Now Ukraine has a freer hand, I think, not having to check in with the White House every 2 minutes. Is it okay if we do this? Is it okay if we do that? You get approval for everything from the White House, even though Russia will tell you that it's the White House controlling everything going on in Ukraine. There's influence there, but no, I don't think that the White House is wagging that dog. Not right now, not anymore. They've got more autonomy, and they're using autonomous drones for a variety of purposes, including surveillance. You put the drones up, and they're no longer entirely reliant on Elon Musk because they use fiber optics. They don't need GPS navigation with the satellites. They've worked around the problem. So when Elon Musk, with Trump, ordered all intelligence and surveillance cut off, remember when Ukraine went into Russian territory and then the Trump administration cut off the intelligence, cut off the satellite feeds, leaving Ukrainian troops vulnerable to attack, and indeed they got pushed back. Now, what have they done to compensate for that? They're using drones for surveillance without relying on the satellites. They have the whole area covered with like thousands of drones, the constant aerial surveillance with drones in the field feeding information back, and then you have drone operators. Now, this isn't entirely autonomous. This is still drone operators flying these things. It's not all AI. I don't know if they're even using AI, but I'm telling you the technology is there. It has been used. It's probably being used to some degree or another, but maybe not on a full wide scale, because I think the governments are actually still afraid of this stuff. They don't want to totally unleash it, because if they lose control, it'll come and kill them and kill us, kill everybody. Then you've got Skynet going live. But Ukraine, ingenious. They're not giving up. Total miscalculation on Russia's part going in and invading, in my opinion, especially tonight, because I could see after the pro-Russian pundits kept saying it's going to be over in like 3 weeks, it's going to be over in a month, it's going to be over next month, and the month after that, Ukraine doesn't stand a chance. And they've just been constantly wrong, because they're defending their home. And the lies that we've been told over here about all of it, not to say that everything coming from, the Ukrainian side is entirely truthful either. It's war. Everybody's lying to one degree or another. But I'll tell you this, it really does come down to this. Russia invaded Ukraine. Ukraine is the home team. They have the home team advantage, and now I'd say they have a technological advantage and maybe even an advantage in terms of numbers and firepower because of the way they have developed their drone technology. And we all need to take note. It's changing warfare. Even Canada, we're about to spend so much money, billions, I guess, on fighter jets, whether it's F-35s from the US or the Gripen from Sweden, fifth generation fighters. I guess we need them, but they may be obsolete just coming out of the box because you have drones worth a few $1,000s changing the way wars are being fought. Here, let's just do there's all kinds of footage out there even tonight. Well, Ukraine releasing more drone footage. This is a regular occurrence right now, every day, just more of this stuff as they take out targets inside Russia, logistics, going after the trucks, supply lines with drones. And take the audio down on this one again. More footage from Ukraine tonight. FP2 drones striking the Vostokny training ground in Zaporizhia. And a Tor M2 air defense system, a ZU-23 anti-aircraft gun as well. Go back to the footage. This is what I'm talking about. And we've seen European governments saying, well, we've run the clips here, saying that now Ukraine is no longer just being viewed by Europe as a country in need. They're being viewed as a country that's needed because they have the expertise in drones. Having survived the war this long, necessity is the mother of invention. Here's and now they have the technology and the experience that Europe is looking for as they seek to build up their arms. Here's a Ukrainian drone operator in a fortified position, taking shelter, operating a drone, a military drone, while Russians hammer the location with munitions. He's just sitting there. And it must be terrible being on the front lines. I mean, he just appears to be so used to the bombs going off. He barely flinches when the explosion happens. He's clearly dug in pretty tight there. And here's more footage again overnight. Going after the supply lines again. And tanks taken out with really expensive multi-million-dollar military hardware being completely destroyed with drones, again, worth like a few $1,000s. Not to say like Russia's doing the same thing, but not nearly as effectively and not to the same degree. And I would say this also shows Ukraine has more support than we're being shown. More footage. This released from yesterday. I'm keeping the audio down because I don't want copyright strikes on the music. Here we go.
ще одною ділянкою. Армянський мост було сьогодні.
More grief for Russia. They're not losing. Ukraine is not losing. This apparently is Russians watching a drone strike. Russian forces.
Где? Ай,
As
бля.
they take a
Отработал, мужики. Где? Где? Ай, бля. Отработал, мужики.
And it's soldiers as well that have been killed on both sides with drones. And you combine drones with AI, and you've got a whole new ball game out there, man. It's like a science fiction movie. This is all part of whatever you want to call it, including a new world order. Yeah, this is changing warfare, changing the world. And what does this mean? What does it mean for humans? Wouldn't it be great if they could fight wars and just use robots and drones and leave humans out of it? I don't think that's going to happen. You have drone operators with goggles on. In a way, they're kind of becoming integrated into the system, right? They're part of the drone operation itself, integrated, transmuted into it. I don't know where it goes. Soldiers on the front lines being sent into battle, and it is a meat grinder over there. I think Russia's up to like a million casualties now since the start of the war, and they keep sending more into the meat grinder. Ukraine, not as many casualties, but still horrific losses. Human lives ground up. While we're sitting here talking about all this, it's a circus on the front lawn of the White House. Oh, yeah. I talked about it last night, Little Caesar, Donald Trump, America as Rome. This is what's going on this weekend. It's entertaining. Oh, yeah. But I think this is disgraceful. It's a blemish on the United States, what they're doing on the front lawn of the White House. This is supposed to be a dignified place. This is supposed to be a serious place. This is a place representing the people of the United States, and they've turned it into a amusement park. In a way, this is almost like another big middle finger being given to, I don't know exactly whom, by Donald Trump, by allowing this to take place on the front lawn of the White House. Court cases launched at the last minute trying to stop this weekend, this Freedom 250 Ultimate Fighting Championship circus. Dismissed in court, unsuccessful. Launched, I think, unsuccessfully because the direction wasn't correct and the challenges came too late. Challenging it because of the private commercial interests benefiting from this. What's going on the front house lawn? Backflips on motorcycles. It's Evel Knievel on steroids, 2026 style. I mean, I see humor in it, but I'm saddened by it. I'm horrified. I have such a wide mix of emotions looking at that. I don't know where to begin other than to say I think it's disrespectful, undignified, on a level disgusting. I would be totally opposed to something like that happening on the front lawn of, on Parliament Hill in Canada. I don't think you'd ever see it. It's like going to, I don't know. It's like you could say, well, it's for the people. That's what America is. It's for the common people. Yeah, it is, I suppose, but it is a weekend of barbarism. It is the new Rome on display. And what's on display isn't just an empire, it's an empire in decline. The decadence, the unseriousness of the whole thing, especially the administration, the unseriousness of it all. While they're, blasting Iran with missiles and the most powerful military in the world. They've got a blockade off the coast of Cuba. They've initiated regime change in Venezuela. They're trying to take over Greenland, although it looks like maybe that's been pushed to the side. And now there's an announcement up there about expanded military operations on Greenland. And I'm not sure where it's all going, but while all of these more serious things are happening, we have the development of AI, massive AI data centers being planned and constructed across the United States and in Canada as well. And the use of AI, expanded use of AI for military applications in ways that will affect us that are beyond our comprehension, that I think will go beyond anything we've seen in a science fiction movie, that will potentially leave a huge portion, maybe even everybody on the planet unemployed. I don't know. They're doing backflips on the White House front lawn with motorcycles. And tomorrow, in what I'd say is also an echo of the most violent aspects of Rome, the Roman Empire, they'll be showcasing a UFC fighting championship event on the White House lawn at a temporary stadium. They're calling the Claw on the front lawn, 4,000 seats there, but it will be broadcast worldwide. And while I yesterday called this an echo of Rome, highlighting what John Lennon had said, that he'd like to live in Rome and then move to New York City because that was the new Rome to him, where he was shot and killed. The irony still echoing into the future, into the present today. And the world is watching. This over coming from RT, Make Rome Fall Again, an op-ed from RT written by Alan Moore. Trump's UFC spectacle turns America's birthday into a blood sport metaphor for imperial decline. Looks like I was kind of on the mark here in terms of, an interpretation of this that is more widespread than just what I brought to you last night. He says, studying archaeology alongside Greek and Roman civilization for my bachelor's degree has given me a pessimistic outlook on the world. At least that's what my dad told me in June 2001 on a drive from Istanbul to Dublin, yet he's to blame for studying the science after bringing me to see Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom in the cinema. The romantic career turned quickly into something different when learning about pattern a circenses, bread and circuses, I guess Latin. Okay, and standing knee deep in medieval human waste in the middle of an Irish bog. As much as I enjoyed the classical world and knowing that the best finds usually emerged from cesspits, when I began covering sports, the transition into the cesspit that is mixed martial arts, MMA, and especially the Ultimate Fighting Championship, was a transition too far. For those offended by my words, then combat sports are not for you. Yeah, I'll say so. For 20 years, I boxed up to international level, winning many medals, titles, and sharing the ring with legends like Wayne McCullough, Olympic silver medalist and pro world champ. He lists other fighters here as well. So anyway, he goes on here. He says, so when I heard there would be a UFC event held at the White House, the Washington version, my archaeological senses took over and I immediately went back to the collapse of the Roman Empire. Me too. UFC Freedom 250 is the most appropriate event to celebrate 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence because it is another step down the path to self-immolation of the U.S. empire. I won't go that far. I'll say this is an exhibition of the self-immolation of MAGA, or at least this incarnation of America. I see more than one America before us tonight. I see two possible paths into the future, or maybe more than two. The one that we're on currently, I want no part of. I'd like to see it change direction because it's disrespectful, it's bombastic, it's full of hubris, it's gross, it's disgusting. It's decadence. It's overconfidence. You have a president who acts like the United States is still the sole nuclear power in the universe on many levels, or the most powerful military in the world, thinking peace through strength means using the strength and flexing muscles and bombing countries that are weaker than yourself and bullying your allies, picking trade wars with the whole world. A country in decline, for sure, not out of necessity, by choice. I have to wonder why. What I see happening makes no sense. And again, this whole thing this weekend, I know a lot of people disagree with me. It's the best thing ever. It's so much fun. $60 million exhibition by the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Dana White, friend of President Trump. They'll make big bank on this. The whole world's going to watch this thing. It's history in the making, yet at the same time, I think that it hurts the United States. It hurts the image, the reputation. Country not taking that seriously. That's why so many countries don't want to buy the F-35s anymore. That's why Trump couldn't get anybody to support what he has done in the Gulf, in the Strait of Hormuz with Iran. That's why he's in trouble over there. That's why tomorrow with this signing ceremony, which I doubt is really going to happen, but maybe it will, probably not. Don't hold your breath. That's why. Overconfidence, lies, exaggerations. Everything the guy says ends up being a lie, one way or another. I mean, it's off the charts, unbelievable. My God. And then this revelation about AI used for military applications to actually kill humans. Telling a computer, go kill those human beings, kill everything. It all underscores Ukraine's accelerated push into AI-driven warfare out of, I think, necessity, dealing with this true existential threat to their sovereignty, to the existence of their country, and even their culture, their people, their way of life. Ukrainian forces now deploying semi-autonomous systems. Kill them all. This raises profound ethical, legal questions about autonomous weapons. The development, it highlights how the war in Ukraine continues to serve as a proving ground for next generation military innovations. All of this reshaping the way wars will be fought, are being fought today, and will be fought into the future. And then tomorrow, gladiators on the front lawn of the White House battling it out. I wonder if Trump will show up and give a thumbs up or a thumb down on whether the loser should live or die. It's barbaric. I think it sends a message to the world, too. They're talking about possible rain and a lot of heat, but Dana White, UFC CEO, says the show must go on and will go on. All starts tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Oh, I guess we're going to be live. I don't think we'll be carrying it. I'm sure that it will be copyrighted. Carry that, you're going to get taken down because they want you to pay, either by watching ads and pay with your eyeballs and your mind, or just straight up open your wallet. So Dana White, UFC, and the broadcasters can all make bank. I'll be right back.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, now this will trigger a bunch of people. Let me get this lined up here. Oh, I should also just highlight this before we get into Mark Carney. In Northern Ireland, thousands coming out for large anti-racism rallies in Belfast and Derry, condemning the violent anti-immigration protests that have taken place over there, and they were violent. No denying that. buildings set on fire, homes, in some cases targeting immigrants, immigrant families, burning people out of their homes. Showed you the video of that. It's true. Organizers reporting up to 20,000 people at the main Belfast event outside City Hall there, one of the biggest gatherings in the city's history. Many banners reading "Riots don't speak for Belfast" and "Belfast stands against racism." The peaceful demonstrations, of course, coming after nights of rioting triggered by that knife attack on June 8th, days ago, when a Sudanese asylum seeker was charged with attempted murder. Masked protesters earlier torched homes, vehicles, a bus, targeting areas believed to house immigrants. Politicians from across parties, trade unions, anti-racism groups speaking to crowds today, calling for calm and unity. Similar counter-protests took place in Derry. So you have other people out there continuing the protests that came in the first place, calling for mass remigration. Here in Canada, they call it remigration. I don't think they pronounce it properly, but whatever. Elsewhere, across the UK, rival demonstrations unfolding in cities like Brighton, Glasgow, Liverpool, Sheffield. Anti-immigration groups marched alongside larger anti-racism counter-protests. Heavy police presence keeping the events largely peaceful, though there were some minor scuffles and arrests reported today in, I think, some places like Brighton. So this is an issue that, of course, going to continue. Back with a little bit more focus on Canada, but thus also internationally, because Prime Minister Carney in Ireland today, ahead of the G7 economic summit for next week. Here he is arriving in Ireland. The big walking down the stairs from the airplane shot that they always liked to show us. So he did the plane walk. And he's there to meet with the leader of Ireland, of course. They held bilateral talks, had a joint press conference agreeing to deepen cooperation on what else? Well, I'll say this first: pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, food security, regenerative medicine, and artificial intelligence. The subject matter front and center tonight. Carney described the visit today as strengthening an already flourishing relationship. While on the Irish side, they're calling it an opportunity to build closer economic and cultural ties. And of course, Carney getting a lot of attention. And of course, the critics will, no matter what he says, they hang on every word. So depending on which feed you're looking at, you're going to get a different story. But, trying to frame Carney as being the leader of some kind of he's the reason for the New World Order. I think that Canada is caught up in the New World Order, and I think Carney is well aware of what's going on, and he mentions it, acknowledges it is happening. I don't think it's really fair to say that he's personally responsible for it all. Jury's out on how he deals with it and whether he plunges us into a New World Order dystopia or whatever that might be coming down the road. But no, I'm not going to jump. I'm not going to hitch my wagon to that star. I'm going to judge people by what they do, not by the way people frame them in propagandistic social media posts, lowbrow criticism where a lot of the stuff is taken out of context. Judge him by what he actually does. Just like I have with Trump. I was very positive about a lot of things he did and watched him deteriorate and spiral downward into this weird circus that is causing so much turmoil, so much chaos around the globe. And it has become increasingly evident that if you want somebody to direct your frustration at, I'd say direct it at the guy in the White House, because it's very clear he's been involved in everything since coming down that escalator, probably even before. Probably long before that. Let me see here. So ahead of the G7, people are hanging on. Like Carney has kind of been thrust to the front of the world leaders' pecking order because of his speech in Davos, where he really called out the United States and the New World Order at that time. In I think kind of a brave way. See, the problem with the rules-based international order, which I have been critical of myself on this program, certainly years ago, more so even than today, the reason I've been critical of it is because the superpowers always have had veto power. They never had to follow the rules. Anything they did follow in terms of rules was done voluntarily because they're not member of the International Criminal Court or the ICJ. They have veto power at the UN. They have total power over NATO. So they just, if they don't want to do something, they say no. And because they're the big fish and have had all the power, both Russia and the United States have historically just been able to sit there and say, no, we're going to veto that from the UN. No, going to veto that. So this whole argument that the UN was going to control the United States in some way, it never really held water because they could just say no. They just don't want to pay for involvement of anybody. They're not going to listen to anybody anymore. So, and that includes Canada. So, I want a country that is sovereign, and I want self-determination as much as possible. So you're seeing a realignment, and I don't know for sure where it's all going to go, but certainly what we're seeing over in Europe right now is middle powers coming together in the face of economic pressure from certainly the United States and the Western Hemisphere. Anyway, let me take a little break. I'm going to come back on the other side. I don't know if I want to try and stay as focused as I can so that people understand what it is that I'm saying. I don't want to meander too much. Let me collect my thoughts again, get refocused. We'll come back on the other side.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Yeah. Like the illiberal mega global freedom, which is not really a freedom movement at all. The right wing authoritarian fascistic political movement that's happening globally right now, they are looking for any way they can to twist words, take clips, and just apply meaning to it that is in some cases distorted, many cases, to just paint paint Mark Carney in the worst possible light. And if he and when he does something that I think is out of line or not in the best interest of people, I will call it out. But even here, he's in this clip. Well, I'm going to play this clip. He's there. His visit to Europe, they're hanging on every word that he says, which is fair enough. However, I tire of it because it's all crap. I was thinking last night that this broadcast, we have to do better. This crap that is spun up, that's entirely partisan. I'm on this side. My guy does absolutely no wrong. They do everything they do is complete evil. It's all this extremist crapola. And it's just become very apparent to me. We need to do better or we are not going to survive as a species. And it's going to start right here with me. That's what I've been striving toward. Fairness, proper perspective, the pursuit of actual truth, not truth just throwing the word truth around. No, really trying to get people closer to the truth. Not just taking things out of context, spinning clips, editing things, applying messaging to social media posts to prime the posts for people to view in a particular perspective to serve a particular political agenda or target or objective. I know. Here's Carney saying that the G7, the big G7, no longer, like, it doesn't run the world.
I don't go. I'm looking forward to this summit, and I'm looking forward, as I should add as well, last point, the broader participation that will be at the summit, everyone from Kenya through to the UAE who will be there at the broader outreach. That's an important component of this because the G7 is not running the world. It's important, but it's not running the world. I don't go.
He's not running the world. Which proves, with absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt, he's running the whole WEF, and he's the man behind the plan to subjugate us all and kill us, like, and then feed us to the aliens. Like, no, man, no. He's gonna do bad stuff, and when he does, I'm gonna call it out. So far, he's been responding to what the United States has been doing. And in ways that I think are appropriate, but we'll see. But I'm not going to sit here and just jump on the bandwagon and just crap all over everything, crap all over my country, crap all over the prime minister, crap all over this just because it's liberal. No, he's not even a freaking liberal. Not really. He isn't. Like, he is, but he isn't. He's like classical liberal. Socially, I think, yeah, he's kind of liberal and progressive, but fiscally, economically, he's not. He's more like Harper and, the former conservative prime minister in Canada. But hey, if you want to just scare yourself to death and live in darkness, then, and you can do it on either side. If you're a Democrat, you can do it to the Republicans. And if you're a Republican, you can do it to the Democrats. And you just listen to the live streamers and it's all cheerleading. It's not journalism. It's all freaking propaganda and mind control to try and get you to respond. They're selling you stuff, man. They're all selling you crap. And if I were Carney, I wouldn't even use the phrase New World Order or any reference at all to the New World. But he knows that if you're down that rabbit hole, you ain't going to vote for him anyway. So it probably doesn't really care.
Community in Yerevan, and as the president mentioned a few weeks ago at the European political community in Yerevan, I was honored to attend, and I said at that meeting that I believe that the next world order will likely be built out of Europe, and Canada will be part of that effort. in security as the first non-European member to join SAFE. As the President mentioned, under his leadership, Canada is a key member of the coalition of willing to support Ukraine in critical minerals, working with Minister Lescure as a reliable supplier to our core European partners. And as the President mentioned,
so there are, this is, it is about a rules-based international order. Canada does belong to the ICC. Canada does, it can be held accountable for what we do at the ICC, the ICJ. We don't really have veto power at the United Nations. We are a smaller power, but much more powerful than Donald Trump realizes. And there is, there are two paths forward here. There is a path forward where you're being told that Carney is the man behind the New World Order. I'm telling you, the people telling you that are the ones behind the New World Order. Carney and all the other middle powers, Macron, all the European countries, Ukraine, Hungary, all of them, we're all part of it. We're all dealing with it. It is happening, whether we like it or not, because the political forces are such. Collectively, people are pushing and pulling and being convinced to do a lot of these things. So we're dealing with it. Every country is dealing with it. No one country controls everything, but there is a plan, obviously, a strategy that has been unleashed. It's a political force that has gained momentum, and it is global in scale. And it's not just the United States, but it is a global political movement. And if you look at things geopolitically worldwide, that's really what's at play here. It isn't that the United States is just controlling it. It isn't just that, Europe or the European countries are controlling it. It's that within each country, you have different political movements. One of the political movements within the United States is MAGA. It is the populist movement within the United States, MAGA, as it's branded, through Trump taking over the Republican Party. And that is part of a larger global political movement where you have political parties, political activists embedded, not just embedded, but they're citizens there, but they have their own versions of these political groups or parties in each of the countries, as I pointed out the other night, whether it's AfD in Germany or MIGA, the MIGA movement in Iran, Make Iran Great Again. And there is some powerful force behind even that, even since the American attacks have taken place against Iran. You've seen those people out in the streets protesting the Iranian regime. The Freedom Train International, all of these groups, they all work, they all talk to each other, they all network, and yeah, they have a plan. And then on the other side, you have the classical liberals or the progressives, and then you've got different shades of all of that, and that's pushing back, and that's why Orban was defeated in Hungary, even though he was part of the populist movement, right wing, some would say fascistic, nationalistic, however you want to phrase it. Russia is in that camp right now. That's not a communist country anymore. Russia today is not the old Soviet Union, but it is socialistic in the sense that it is nationalistic and a lot of government control. And because of all of the Ukrainian drone attacks, you're seeing that they're even restricting, what's seen in media over there in a more serious way. Laws passed. There isn't as much freedom over there as they let on. The point is, it is a global movement, and all of these are global movements, and so they all get integrated. It isn't like the United States is just this. The United States is many political movements, and right now the most prominent one in power is MAGA and the populist movement. You have those same political forces being unleashed in Europe. They had been successful with Orban in Hungary, pushed back now. That's a setback for the global political movement. And some of these people are pushing for a new world order. But always blame what you are doing on the people you're doing it to, right? That's what is being done, I would say, in large measure. And just by acknowledging it, people use that. Some people lose their minds. They're triggered if Carney says New World Order, but at the same time, it's being used to trigger you, to get you upset, to get you involved. And for all I know, they're all working together so that they have somebody to fight against. That could be part of it too. But I just have to judge by what they do. What I do know is this is the most dangerous time in human history because of the use of AI. And it happened 2 years ago. That's not a partisan thing here. That's a thing about humanity, okay? This is about what's coming. What does this mean for humanity? Are we going to, there's going to be a push, and it's going to come faster than anybody realizes, folks, to have us integrate with the machines. We're already integrated through our phones, through the internet, which is the matrix. AI being introduced to us. Look how fast it has already started to change our society. Artificial intelligence changing the way businesses operate, changing our energy policies, changing our perspectives on everything, creating a technology race on many levels. Military, arms race, and an artificial intelligence race, a space race. Who's dominating all of it? The United States. China, very close second. Maybe they've even taken the lead. And now it's already being used in ways that we haven't been given a chance to have much of a voice in. They're just doing it secretly, using AI for military applications. Why do you think they're building these giant, massive AI data centers? It won't do to just say, we have to stop it. No, we have to do more. But I'll tell you this, it's not enough. It's a misdirection. It's not a proper strategy to sit here on social media and just watch clips of whatever politician either side wants to sit and smear and cheerlead for one side or the other and get all emotional about these things and not really evaluate based on actions and real information. This is crap. This is all crap. So much of what we're seeing online is crap. So much of it is just outright lies and exaggeration. And it is a lot of just entertainment, bread and circuses. There's no shame anymore because journalism is largely dead. And that's the dangerous part. We no longer even know what's real. I'm not defending Carney. I'm trying to defend truth. I'm trying to defend to get back to some sort of integrity in the way information is being provided to all of us. I'm not sure how to get there because these forces have been unleashed in a way since the pandemic that it's unprecedented, and the technology has changed so much that I don't know how we grab a hold of this and get it under control. It's not enough to just sit there and say the best way to defeat bad arguments is with more information and good arguments. No, it's not working anymore because we're awash in information overload, and and there's so much crap that you can't as a just a regular person trying to live a regular life, you don't have enough time to sift through it and get to good information and real conclusions. It's almost impossible now for people to really drill down and get to the actual truth. I do have a lot of faith in people, and I think we're still largely, people are kind of zeroing in on the quality and rejecting some of the bad stuff, but it's all polluted. It's not good enough. I don't want to see any of these politicians just completely slandered or lied about. And we have to do better here. I'm going to try to do better. We have to do better. I need your help to do it. I need you to just keep an open mind. Don't accept what you're seeing online as just, oh, that's the truth. This isn't the truth. Just be skeptical of all of it. And I just have to make the pledge to you again that I am never knowingly going to lie to you. And I'm here to serve you, serve the interests of the public, to serve your interest, the people. Because if we don't do that, we're just going to blow ourselves to smithereens. E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass at the speed of light squared, representing space and time. At the center of a nuclear blast, matter, mass, instantly accelerated by the splitting of an atom to the speed of light. In the process, matter is converted to pure energy. Pure energy. Like the power of the sun. I have to wonder what happens to the souls of human beings that are caught in the blast. We have to do better. All this is designed to distort reality so that those doing us the most harm and leading us into damnation are masked. And I'm thinking the ones who are really there trying to help us are being demonized. Right now, it's still too early and too difficult to know who the good guys are, who the bad guys are. I just know that we have to get back to individual rights and freedoms. We do need rules. We do need the rule of law. We do need to get back to principles where an agreement, where someone's word means something. Somebody messaged me the other day talking about chivalry. Yeah, chivalry. We need more of that. Not in just the romantic sense, but in the sense that we need more humility, strength, mercy. I'm not just looking for a few strong men. Hard times produce strong men. I'm so sick of that. You know what we need? You know what I need? I need not the biggest audience online. I need quality. I need a few good ladies and gentlemen. People dedicated to the pursuit of real truth. That's the only way to set ourselves free. Love you guys. Each and every individual. Every one of you. See you back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. On the flip side.
Drifting down without a sound, a gentle touch upon the ground. No two the same, yet side by side, like you and me in this great tide. Like a fingerprint from God, frozen tears from up above. Each one special, each one rare, a fleeting wonder light as air. Here for a moment, then melting away. Gone in the sunlight, lost in the day. Taken for granted, so easy to miss. Like life itself, so fragile is this. A million fall, yet each stands true. A perfect shape, a different hue. Just like us, no two alike. A spark of life, a soul in flight. Like a fingerprint from God, frozen tears from up above. Each one special, each one rare, a fleeting wonder light is air. Here for a moment, then melting away. Gone in the sunlight, lost in the day. Taken for granted, so easy to miss. Like life itself, so fragile is this. A million falling, yet each stands true. A perfect shape, a different hue. Just like us, no two alike. Like life itself, so fragile is this. Like you, like me, we shine, we fade. Yet every soul is beautifully made. A moment to love, a moment to stay. Before we drift, before we stray. cherish the snowflakes here only for a moment, then melt away.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.